been about a week since that, huh?
No, a week ago tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Don't jump the gun.
All right. Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Okay. Yes. Here's one thing that's been interesting, been going on recently during our renovations up here.
Yes.
Here at the apartment complex. And it just seems like it just kind of hearing a lot of stuff, somewhat negative around town. It seems like some people is upset with the renovations, and they don't live up here. I'll explain that. I'll explain that in a second. Yes, we are talking about Mr. and Miss or Mrs. Busybodies. But here on YouTube and here on the internet, they've always been called Karens and Darrens. Sorry for those ones who are named Karen and for the ones who are named Darren. This is an internet deal, so I prefer to use the old school way. Busybodies. Somebody has too much time on their hands and just want to wreak havoc on somebody else's lives. That's basically what this video is all about. Technically, we had our own share of the busybodies.
We have.
Angie has not experienced one herself here on the channel. I have a couple times on my personal walks when I take you guys, between you and me. Has happened a couple times already off camera and all that stuff. It's just as YouTubers, it's not easy to do. But even if you're not on YouTube, you still can fall victim on this situation, basically.
Anybody can.
Anybody can. You don't have to be a YouTuber to fall to be bothered by Miss Busybody. Let me explain, and otherwise, when someone has too much time in their hands and for some reason they want to get law enforcement involved in a way. So basically, this is going to be a fun video. Oh, yeah. We can have somebody be sitting in a parking lot. We do have a parking lot adjoining next to this apartment complex for our local subscribers. Lives local by us. Probably knows what we're talking about, but don't mention the location, okay? Basically. So then there's other parking lots that these so-called busybodies will sit. I've heard stories. We heard on the police scanner. We were on the police scanner a couple times where a couple businesses was called on towards the police because employees were leaving their business at the end of the business day, and Miss Busybody or Mr. Busybody decided to call the cops on them and call it suspicious activity. Unfortunately, back in '91, former President George Bush, this is the older one, not the younger one, decided to make a statement. Even I do agree with it in a percentage-wise, but some people just takes it too far. Is basically, he says sum it up, didn't really explain what you should be looking for. He just said, basically, if you see it, report it. Basically, that's what happened.
That's what I heard too.
And this is before the internet and all that stuff. And you see these videos on the internet a lot here on YouTube, a lot of videos where someone will, and of course, the law enforcement has to investigate every call. Just be fair with the boys in blue, the boys and girls in blue. They do a good job. They have to investigate every call, unfortunately, but they have to.
They have to.
But unfortunately, it comes down to the busybody just decided, they rather waste taxpayers' money, the resources, on a bogus call when someone's doing something legal, and they think in their minds it's illegal. There's many times I had disputes on Facebook about my late night walks, and we had somebody posting saying it was just here in town. Basically, it's just saying that everybody should have a curfew. Everybody should be home after a certain time.
Oh gosh.
Hey, yeah. Oh gosh, that's right. We had many arguments.
I remember when we went for a walk and we got stopped in Jenny's parking lot.
Yep. Well, that was on a good note because they just want to say hi to us.
Yeah, because they're
they were law enforcement. They just want to say hi to us and all that stuff, which is no big deal. But then we talked about some issues about late night walks. They said, as far as we know, late night walks, as far as they know, as far as we know,
we don't have a curfew.
there's no curfew for people who's over 18. Never has, never will, unless it was a state of emergency, which we had a couple years ago. Even with the COVID lockdowns, we had some form of a curfew. Not everyone was and all that stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. We're getting sidetracked here. We're getting derailed here, but we're talking about mainly like the busybody. So it just has nothing but better to do to cause grief to other people that's doing legal activities. Even living in an apartment complex, even leaving and going in and out of apartment complexes. Now, as a resident of the apartment complex, I am aware of what our neighbors have, who the friends comes in and see, how often they come in. One thing, we used to live in an apartment complex south in the town where basically from 11 p.m. till 4 a.m. it was like Grand Central Station.
Never knew who was coming in.
People was coming in and out all night long, and I said, man, that's a lot of friends, and it's keeping us awake all the time. And that. So it's something I talked to the landlord about at the time, and what they did was they sat outside and watched the same thing happen, and unfortunately, they knew who it was, and they got evicted for it, basically, because it created a disturbance, and it's just bringing unwanted people, basically, in and that. So, even Angie, smile. You need to smile more on the videos. But, yeah, but basically, it comes down to this. Even no matter what time I go out for my walk, even if it's broad daylight or coming in, seems like there's somebody out here sitting and just looking for the right person to pick on, basically. So when I see somebody who does not really belong up here or is just kind of being suspicious themselves, I give them the evil eye, and they get mad, they take off, basically. Yeah, it's just be aware of your situations, too. I always try to do that, too. Yeah, this also happened where I used to have been employed at on the south end of town. I'm not going to mention the company's name and all that stuff, but just as we was going to work, as soon as I pulled in with a vehicle that we used to own, just pulled into work, about ready to start our shift, and all of a sudden, before you know it, there was like 5 or 6 squad cars. Almost the entire Clinton police force was called in because somebody decided to call the local law enforcement saying there was suspicious activity, large amount of vehicles pulling into a business. And being at between 7 a.m. and 7:30, it's like, hey, people, we're going to work. People do have jobs. What are you doing? Calling people who's going to work? That's what they were doing, basically. And I don't know what investigation came out of it. They said there was nothing wrong. We were just waiting for our boss to come in to unlock the building. He comes in about just minutes before we were supposed to all clock in, because our business at the time where I used to work was only from running from 7:30 till about 4 o'clock, and sometimes they'll go an extra 15 minutes to do last minute stuff, and that's it. Then they go home and that. So yeah, just that one day, all of a sudden, just one day, just going to work, just that one day, all of a sudden, we have like 5 or 6 squad cars coming in. Almost the entire shift came calling in, came roaming in, just because somebody called the police, just say, hey, there's too many vehicles pulling into a business. We think there's something wrong. Yeah, it's called we're going to work.
It's called work, people.
Yeah, it's called going to work. That's me going around town with this video camera and that. And sometimes it's in the back of my mind, too. It's back in our minds. It always has, always will be. There's somebody that's going to get a little upset because somebody's holding the camera. And the first thing they have to do is call the cops and that. So far, we have not faced anybody like that yet. We have not been confronted like that yet. Hopefully, knock on wood, it never will. And that. This is another reason why we did our videos for 7 days. And that. So, just... and I always tell people, and sometimes when people do get upset with when we're holding a video camera, and my best advice to most people is if you do not want to be in camera, do not walk in front of one. That's very simple.
Yep.
Because I'm going to tell you a little truth. Even if you, let's say if I actually showed somebody on video, our audience doesn't care who you are or what you are or what you're doing. My audience just don't care. They only care what we are doing. That's us.
Yes.
What we are doing. They don't care what anybody else is doing. If someone notices differently, then we see it in the comments, but very rarely we do see it in the comments on that. Like Las Vegas and that. Las Vegas, Cedar Point trips, our amusement park trips. I was confronted by somebody at Adventureland that says, good luck avoiding the camera guy because there's going to be a lot of video cameras out and about. I'll guarantee you're on somebody's YouTube channel already before they got to mine.
I remember some girl in Vegas goes, "Hi, ma'am. Hi, buddy." I said, "I'm not your buddy." And
that's right, but that's not what we're talking about, Angie. You got sidetracked again. Yeah, this video's already getting derailed a couple times, so I have to get them back on track. But yeah, just like I said, even on camera, off camera, it's not just because this has been going on for many, many, many years, long before there was such thing as the internet. This dates back to, let's say, even 91, when back then the president says, if you see it, report it. Basically, people did what they did.
And
they saw it, and they still do to this day. Even pre-1991, they probably did it. But it really got going in 1991, and this just never stopped. And as the years of the internet, it just got worse and worse and worse every year. So that's why we came up with that's why a lot of people on the internet came up with the phrase Karens and Darrens.
Sorry guys, I keep yawning.
Yep, but are basically what we call them is busybodies. Somebody who has too much time on their hands, they're butthurt. They get butthurt because somebody's doing legal activities. They don't like it, so they end up calling the police. And basically, and when they come up here, technically, they'll come up here. They'll sit out. We had somebody even sitting out here in the parking lot one year. This is before we started YouTube. We had actually someone sat out here about 7, 8 years ago, just stared at 2 or 3 of our apartments. This is before we had YouTube. Like I said, this is like 6, 7 years ago, before we had YouTube. We barely started talking about being on YouTube. We had somebody sitting out there for a long time. Then all of a sudden, when I step outside the patio and turn on the light, they just decided to take off, basically. So, yeah. And as a YouTuber here at the apartment complex where we live at, sometimes that's an extra benefit because if I feel like there's something going on out there, I'll just grab this camera. We'll walk over to the door. Sometimes I'll just walk over the door, maybe do a fake vlog, and we'll just aim the camera out there. You see how fast they take off. Right now, we do have somebody that's sitting down there as of right now, but I think there are residents here. I think there are residents here. They just came home. We'll find out off camera here. Okay, that was one of our neighbors that just lives down the hall. She just pulls in. She's about ready to leave the car anyway, so that's fine. We're not worried about her and that. So, and that's basically it. That's why we had to sit down and that. So, okay, like I said, but we're talking about people who has no business up here. They're not up here seeing nobody. We're not the only apartment complex that probably get affected by this. There's a lot of apartment complexes around town. I'm pretty sure they had their own share. If you live in a private house, you're not immune to this either because somebody has too much. Like I said, there's too many people that has too much time on their hands, and they just want to make life miserable to some people. To us, what we do legally every single day is thinking it's against the law, in their minds.
But it's not.
But it's not. So, even doing videos on public, when we do videos in public, we always said there's no expectation of privacy out in public. Somebody decided to spew that out of their videos, so I decided to prove them. I tried to say, okay, let's put them on our video, which we did, and guess what? He's not doing any more videos because we exposed him. We exposed him, Angie.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but always, even when we're out in public, there is no expectation of privacy out in public, especially when we're on the riverfront, downtown. Doesn't matter where we're at, and that. So our privacy is in the confines of his apartment when we don't have the cameras going, basically. So, but I'm pretty sure we will get. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be just us.
It's going to be a lot.
There's going to be a lot of people. Like I said, it doesn't. You don't have to be a YouTuber to be affected by this. An average person, for any reason, can be affected by this too. Could be one of our subscribers got affected by this. If you're affected by it, if you feel like you guys got harassed like that, leave it down in the comments down below. Just hear your side of the story in that. But like I said, when the law enforcement gets called in, law enforcement has to come in to investigate. I'm pretty sure that the call got traced in some form. I don't know how they can trace a cell phone call nowadays, but if you're on a landline, that's very traceable, basically. But cell phones, it's kind of difficult to trace.
It is.
But I'm pretty sure that the law enforcement knows how to do it. If they can just keep the person online long enough, just try to trace it, just in case if it's a bogus call. And, and we've seen this many times on YouTube. And like I said, when you file a police report, it is a risky proposition because a false police report can land you in jail, basically. So if you do a police report, make sure you're affected. Even we had a break-in one of our lockers down in the laundry room. I had to file a police report on what was stolen and all that stuff. Some of you guys did not like that video at all.
Guys, I had to file a police report.
Yeah. Almost anybody can file a police report. Anyway, if something happened that you just want it on record, basically. And besides that, it's open records too. Believe it or not, it's open records on that. So right now, basically, what it comes down to is this. We are aware of what's going on up here at all times. We are aware of what's going on around us. We've been doing this long time before we started this YouTube channel. I know it's going to upset a few certain people, Angie. I know who we're talking about.
I don't know nothing.
You don't know nothing. But it does happen. It happened where we used to live down south of the town. It happened a couple times down where we lived down there. We used to... Another story was we used to own a vehicle when we were coming home from work. Somebody decided to call the cops on a vehicle that was not moving from behind an apartment where we used to live in, and they called the cops. I think the cops were called on us, but I don't have no record on it, basically. But someone attempted to call the cops on us for leaving an abandoned vehicle in the backyard. Here's an interesting, funny story. When they made that call, the vehicle was not in that backyard at the time. I was driving home from work at the time.
Yep.
So that's what happened. So somebody decided to call the police before I brought the vehicle back home from work. When I used to live in the south of the town. Real smart. Smart, yeah, it's real smart on their end. Make sure and that. But like I said, too many busybodies. We call them Karens and Darrens here on YouTube and on the internet world. But in the old days, we call them Ms. Busybody or Mr. Busybody.
Yep.
And that. So if you're experienced by one of them people, no matter if it's Karen or Darren or
leave it in the comments below.
Yeah, leave it in the comments below. But yeah, it's I thought we'd just come out and says, I've been seeing some people just sitting around up here in the parking lots lately, just sitting staring at businesses. It's not the first time it happened up here. I'll guarantee it's not going to be the last time. Because it's been going on since we've been living up here, and it's been going on since we used to live at the south of the town. Doesn't matter where you live, it's going to happen eventually. It might happen in your neighborhood too.
Yep.
Or at your house and that. So.
Or at your place of business.
Or a place of business, that's right. Especially if you're opening or closing. Those are the ones that are going to get hit the hardest because they're the ones got to deal with it more than anybody else.
Yep.
Because somebody is out there without a job, decided to make sure no one else is working either by getting them falsely arrested or something like that. But who knows? Okay, it's time to rest this video. It's time to end it, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, please like, share, subscribe. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You guys, I'll see you later. Bye.